The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The UP OCTA research team reports that the virus reproduction rate in Metro Manila is now stable. To tell us exactly what this means, we have Greg Gregorio joining us live from Mandaluyong. Greg, good afternoon. Could you tell us what are the implications of this reproduction rate that's holding steady at around 1?
Charles, according to Dr. Guido David of UP OCTA Research, the reproduction number, or R0, of the COVID-19 cases in the National Capital Region is at 0.98. It is actually better than the previous weeks when we recorded 1.08 R0 or higher than 1. When the R0 is higher than 1, it means that the transmission of the virus is not controlled. Now that it is below 1, it means that the transmission is controlled. Charles?
All right, what does the OCTA research team recommend to further bring this number down? That's 0.98, that's better than 1 na pala.
Yes, Charles, according to Dr. David, it would be better if we would, as you have said, it would be better if we could further decrease the number of cases as well as the reproduction number. But according to David, it would also mean that we would have to impose stricter quarantine protocols over Metro Manila. But he said it is understandable that it is hard to do such because it would also hurt the economy. Thus, they just recommend that we must sustain the 0.98 or below or around 1 R0 until the next weeks in the country. Charles?
Right, Greg, if you recall, a couple of months ago, we were talking about some effects of the holiday season. Are we actually seeing any of those prolonged effects from December as well as that well-attended Feast of the Black Nazarene?
Actually, Charles, UP OCTA research said they saw no impact of the Black Nazarene, of the Feast of the Black Nazarene as to the COVID-19 cases in the National Capital Region. Thus, they have said that the R0 in NCR has been stable for the couple of weeks, that is around 1. Charles?
Right, Greg, but how about the hospital utilization rate in the capital region and other parts of the country?
Charles, according to David, the current hospital utilization rate in the country is below 70 and some below 70%, which would mean that the country the country's health care system is not overwhelmed by COVID-19 cases, and we would be able to cater to more cases if this would further increase in the coming days. According to the recent previous statement of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III, the hospital utilization rate in the country is around 40 to 45%. Charles?
Right, it seems like everything's within the ideal spectrum, but then do we have any updates now regarding interim analysis on one of the vaccines we're expecting from Russia?
Yes, Charles, the Gamaleya Research Institute and the RDIF of Russia have recently released the interim analysis of their COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik V, which says it has 91.6% efficacy and 100% protection against severe infection. We talked to FDA Director General Eric Domingo about this, and he said that he also sent this interim analysis to our experts evaluating the application for the emergency use authorization of Gamaleya here in the Philippines, and he said there is a possibility that the results might be released within the month. Charles?
All right, that is good news as we are expecting an EUA for the Gamaleya vaccine soon. Thank you, Greg Gregorio. Here are other developments we're watching from around the globe. Swedish health authorities are not recommending Astrazeneca shots for people over 65 years old. The Swedish Public Health Agency says Astrazeneca has been proven to give a good immune response to younger individuals. But there's still no data on on how effective the vaccine is in protecting against severe COVID cases in older age groups. The agency said it will revisit its decision once more findings about the vaccine's effect on people over 65 years old become available. Pakistan has kicked off its drive to administer Sinopharm shots donated by China to its frontline health workers across the country. The vaccination campaign was simultaneously launched in all 4 provinces and federating units of the country. The Ministry of Health says the Pakistani government will try to inoculate all of the people who are eligible to receive the vaccine before the end of the year. The World Health Organization says nations shouldn't be punished for reporting new COVID-19 variants. WHO Health Emergencies Program Executive Director Mike Ryan says it's easier to monitor and contain the virus if authorities are familiar with the invisible enemy that we're all facing.
What we have learned from our colleagues in South Africa, in Brazil, in the UK, in Denmark is vitally important information. They should be lauded, they should be praised, they should be held up and thanked for the vital information they're giving us. So I think that's really important.
We'll be back with more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. Still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Philippine Tariff Commission has started its public hearing on the Agriculture Department's proposal to reduce tariff on pork imports for a year. Shaila Francisco reports to us live from Makati to give us more detail. Shaila, could you give us a lowdown of what happened at that public hearing earlier today?
Charles, the Agriculture Department justified its proposal to lower tariff on pork imports, noting that the country is anticipating a pork deficit by the end of the year. Based on their outlook, they are expecting 88 days of shortage by the end of the year. For this quarter alone, they are already anticipating 13 days of shortage. The department explains the proposal to lower the tariff is part of short-term plans to augment the deficit. And to recall, the DA is proposing current 30% tariff be reduced to 5% in the first 6 months and 10% in succeeding months under the minimum access volume or MAV. While those outside MAV will be lowered from 40% to 15% in the first 6 months and 20% in succeeding months. But both senators and industry stakeholders are against the move. Senator Cynthia Villar, for one, questions the timing of shortage and request for pork imports. She says this could lead to technical smuggling and could affect the local industry even more. According to the Samahang Industriya ng Agrikultura, 150,000 workers have lost jobs due to ASF, and this could increase further with the proposed importation. Both the senators and stakeholders say they are not against the importation, but they are not in favor of lowering tariff. They say that there's no need to decrease as importers are still able to compete and imported goods are cheaper even with the current tariff. The DA, however, failed to explain how they came up with the tariff proposal. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles, meanwhile, announced earlier that President Duterte approved the proposal to increase minimum access volume to meet the 1.6 million metric tons demand of pork for this year. Charles, the Tariff Commission is accepting position papers until February 9. Meanwhile, on proposals to lower tariff on rice, Senator Cynthia Villar says that she is against the move and will oppose this as this shows inconsistency with the current rice policy. Charles?
Thanks for that, Shaila. That was Shaila Francisco reporting to us live from Makati. Despite the threat of COVID-19, infrastructure projects continue to be built all over the country. Among these is the Binondo-Intramuros Bridge, a joint project of the Philippine government and China. To give us updates on this, Gerard de la Peña joins us live from Intramuros in Manila. Gerard, good afternoon. Do we know when this bridge will open?
Charles, this bridge right behind me, which is under construction, the Binondo-Intramuros Bridge, is likely to be open to the public by around September of this year. Now, the Chinese Embassy, together with the Public Works Department, showed us around here to demonstrate the progress of the construction of this infrastructure. Now, the 680-meter bridge will cross Pasig River to connect Intramuros and Binondo. This will ease traffic at the Jones, MacArthur, and Del Pan bridges, as this provides easy access to Anda Circle, Loton, and R10. The project, together with the Estrella Pantaleon Bridge in Mandaluyong, is a grant from the Chinese government, and this means that the Philippine government is not shelling out funds despite these costing 3.6 billion pesos. The bridge employs a different technology which allows for pre-fabrication of parts for faster construction. Public Works Secretary Mark Villar clarified that majority of the workers on this project are Filipinos and that the Chinese workers employed are here to provide technical assistance. The Chinese government likewise expressed their disappointment over news reports that the Cavite government canceled altogether the participation of China Communications Construction on the Sangli Airport project. Chinese Ambassador Wang Xilian said the only thing canceled was the feasibility study. Charles, as I mentioned a while ago, this project will be open to the public by around September of this year, while the Estrella Pantaleon Bridge is slated to be open by around May. The BGC Ortigas Link project, another bridge crossing the Pasig River, is also likely to be open by around third quarter of this year. Now, these three projects is part of a 2016 master plan which are aimed at decongesting traffic in Metro Manila. Now, another interesting point here, workers here mentioned to us that this whole infrastructure will be pushed to that side going to Binondo, and that is a first here in the Philippines. Charles.
All right, thank you for that amazing news. Gerard de la Peña reporting to us live from Intramuros, Manila. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join Sean Yao later at 2 p.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Charles Lehano. We are One News.